I am Valérie Jumessi and I am a French entrepreneur. I'm based in Paris. My parents are Cameroonian. I'm the artistic director of our family business, which is called Upgrade Agency. And I am also a consultant in image and a creativity coach. I co-host a podcast with my three sisters and my mother. It is called 𝐏𝐸𝐿𝐴 podcast. I have always been fascinated by the human potential. For me, it is so important to, as a woman and as a man, to be able to realize our dreams. So welcome in mine. It's 𝐏𝐸𝐿𝐴 podcast. It's a 10-minute bubble of courage in French and in English, where I will be talking everything vulnerability, authenticity, and freedom. So make yourself comfortable. Welcome in my dream. This is 𝐏𝐸𝐿𝐴 podcast. Hello, and welcome in this new episode of 𝐏𝐸𝐿𝐴 podcast. I am Valerie, and I am so happy to have you with me on this new episode, which is going to be a little bit different, I guess, because I decided not to have any construction in that episode. I wanted to do a mood podcast and just to check in with you and to let you know how I've been doing, and maybe you can ask yourself how you've been doing as well, and maybe it's going to resonate with you because I feel like we are all going through a lot lately. I think I can say that I'm a controller. Is that how you say it? Like a controller or a control freak? I don't know if it's the exact definition, but I love to be able to control things. And what I realized is that since I was not able to control what was going outside with this all pandemic situation, I wanted to control everything that I could that was about me. So basically, I've just created or transformed the routine that I had before. I made it a little bit stronger, I will say, but also more intense, where I wake up earlier than I wake up most of the time, because we all live in the same place right now with my sisters and my mother. And so I feel and need some quiet time by myself. So I wake up super early, around 6:30, 7, or sometimes 6, in order to have that quiet time that I need. But I also work out in the morning and do some breath work and some journaling, and then I have my breakfast and I'm trying to read a little bit. Well, this whole routine that you, I'm sure, are familiar with, which is good, but I did not realize that until now. I needed to have control over something, because right now I don't have any control over anything else than myself. That's the case most of the time, but this time it's a little bit more scary. It's something pretty intense, I have to say. I've been doing that for almost 7 weeks in order to maintain clarity and some sanity, and it has worked, but also it made me really tired. And I realized that last weekend, where I for the first time napped during the weekend, which is not what I do. Most of the time I just don't put any alarm in the morning, so I allow myself to sleep as long as I want in the morning during the weekend. But this time I did that, and I had a 3-hour nap because I was so exhausted. So at first I was like, oh, maybe I'm going really, what's going on? Maybe I'm working too much, which is definitely the case. And also some other things were, I think, coming out of my unconscious, and I had to deal with that, plus the whole thing that is outside and this intensivity that I put in my life. 2 days ago, I broke down. I felt so anxious, and that anxiety transformed or translate in the real world as tension and aggressivity. And so I broke down because it was too much for me. I understood that I have asked my subconscious to just send me messages that it thought would be important for me to have, and I was ready to welcome them. And so a lot of memories came back. Do you remember? A lot of memories, both positive and negative. They came back in my mind and in my body, basically. And I started to do some yoga because I really wanted to work out and to take care of my joints, my articulations, because I'm not old, I'm only 30, but still I can feel the difference in my body and how I need to be more careful without putting any limitation, but just doing things slightly different. So I was doing this HIIT low impact training, which are really good because your heart rate goes pretty high, and then you don't jump like a crazy person all over the place, which is good. And also I've decided to go back to yoga, which I was doing before. I did a lot of 𝐞𝐥𝐜𝐿, this yoga that I found on YouTube. I did the yoga with Adrienne stuff because she's so cute and her dog Benji is so adorable and she's so gentle. So it was a good initiation back to that yoga practice. And then I went to something a little bit more intense because that's what I like, intensity, but also softness. And during that session, I really felt the body-mind connection because in certain poses, a lot of emotion came out. And it was a lot of tears and a lot of like, wow, you've been through a lot, girl. You've really been through a lot. You survived all that, but you've been through a lot. And I don't think you took the time to realize what you've been through. It was really eye-opening for me because sometimes you have those energetical nods where if you don't take care of what is holding you back, then in your life and in this world, you're gonna react in a certain way and you can do anything that you want to stop being anxious, but that's not about breathing or doing meditation. There is something more, bigger that you haven't dealt with yet. And yeah, so I just had to really accept what those memories brought back with them, which was a lot of pain and a lot of shame, also a lot of disappointment and a feeling of being betrayed and not respected the way I know now that I deserve respect, but I cannot ask and demand respect from someone if I don't respect myself. This thing, a big thing, came out and I had to deal with it. To be honest, I am still doing it. Like I'm talking about something that happened a day ago. So I'm still in the process of accepting that and trying to understand what I can do to, keep on healing those parts of me that have been shut down for a while because it was the survival mode. And trying to be more gentle with myself, which I think in some way I've became good at, and in other ways I still have a long way to go. Because I am putting too much pressure on myself to achieve stuff because I want to feel like I deserve to be, which is not how it's supposed to be, actually. And the worst is that I'm telling that to everybody. Like, you don't need to do to be. You are enough the way you are. You don't have to do anything. You just have to be. And I am here not walking my talk. I also think that this podcast is a way to heal for me. Like, to be honest, it's something that I want to give to the world, but I also need it. I need it because I am still a work in progress and I will always be that. And it doesn't make me less of a person. It's just the way it is. And I think we all are in this process. But I need to go through the pain and through the memories and through the traumas because I have some tools. I had a lot of tools and I've studied hard to understand the brain and the traumas and the memories and the epigenetic and the transgenerational. I do that because I want you to have those tools that can set you free, but also because I need them to free myself from all those limiting beliefs that I have from myself, from my parents, from my exes, from the world in general. Yeah, it's a long way to go, but I am happy to be able to do that and also to be surrounded by my family who really helps me in that process by giving me space and time to be, by accepting sometimes my harshness, which is not to them, but it's just the way my heart is right now. I feel like it's harder than it has been before, and when you get hurt or when you have pain, sometimes your heart is like closed. And I realized that maybe it was that. That's why yoga, I love yoga, because certain poses just make sure you open your chest and your heart. So yeah, this lockdown situation, self-isolation is something that really reveal characters, I think, and also make sure that everything you didn't want to take care of is coming back to you, and making sure you say it because you don't have any distraction right now. So you better deal with your shit before the words start again in another version you don't even know what it is. So just take care of that. Never know. That's just what it is for now for me. I wanted to have this courage to share that with you, something that is so like recent, because Most of the time, the subject that I choose are stuff that I've been working on for a while. So I'm pretty comfortable talking about them. But for now, it's like so fresh. But I'm like, girl, that's walking your talk.
Walk it like I talk it. Walk it.
Speak your mind. And maybe it's going to touch someone who's feeling the same, who's feeling like it's too hard on himself or herself, who's feeling like she or he is suppressing a lot of emotions because it's so hard to deal with them because of a lot of things, shame and fear and pain. That's the human conditions. I'm hoping that with those words, knowing that I'm going through it right now, you take the courage to do the same. And also to talk about it with your family and relatives because it's something you need support when you go through that kind of thing. So, and you can do it, you know why? Because I know you've survived 100% of the shit that happened to you so far. Because you wouldn't be listening to that podcast if it wasn't the case. So I know you can do it. We have this powerful resiliency that sometimes it's so emotional with everything that we are going through as a society or as a community, as maybe sometimes families, as humans. Like we're going through a lot. But that's what we do. Sometimes we fall and we just, stay on the floor for a few minutes, then cry a little bit, then stand up, dust ourselves, and just keep on walking or dancing or singing or being. And I know I'm going to be able to do that. So for you who's listening to me, I want you to take time. It's a mood podcast. So how do you feel? How have you been feeling lately? What's your emotions? What are you not allowing yourself to feel? What is it? Just trust yourself. Just go and explore that because you have time right now. And I know we still have a long way to go, maybe 1 month or maybe 2, we don't know. However, when things are going to get back to quote unquote normal, you won't have that time. Or it's going to be harder for you to take that time. So what are you going through right now? What's on your mind? What are the things you need to deal with in order to feel at peace? Maybe you need to talk to someone. Maybe you need to write. Maybe you need to express feelings to your family. And maybe if you don't have the support system that allow you to do that, maybe you can talk to professionals. Do something. You deserve that. You deserve your healing. Thank you so much for your attention. I know it was a little bit out of shape for this time, but it's fine. Sometimes life happens and I'm okay to go with the flow. I am preparing you something really special for next week on the Matrix, and I'm really excited to share it with you when it's going to be ready because this should take a lot of time. Anyway, I hope you are safe. Take care of yourself. Take care of your mental health. Don't forget the most important is to be brave, not perfect. And see you in the next one. That was Valerie for Amulet Podcast. Oh, and I forgot. Yes, we have now a website with my sisters and my mother. It's called upgradepodcast.paris. You can find all the podcasts that we have because my sister have all the podcasts as well. My mother, she does too. And we have the Drums podcast, of course. So if you want to discover more about us, just feel free to go there because we are doing good stuff. And I'm sure it's going to help you in some way. Voilà. Peace.